was going to put my hair in a clip. Hold on.
I'm gonna close my bag so I don't eat more than
Ah,
my 8 allotted 2 points.
the background sound of our podcast, food wrappers. Okay.
Welcome to Talk Like a Mother Parenting Autism Podcast. We are Jen, Kim, and Jamie. Take a seat at our table as we share with hope, humor, and honesty.
Hello, and thank you for joining us at Talk Like a Mother. We're back for a new episode where we're going to kind of talk about back to school and transitioning back to school in the different ways we do that in our families because Kimmy has older kids, I've got littler kids, and Jen's got the homeschool going. It's all kind of different. To start, we're going to start like a new little segment of our podcast. We get like questions here or there, and we haven't done like a Q&A episode in a while, but we thought it'd be fun to start every episode with answering someone's question, and then we can get the discussion
I
going
love that.
from there. So with that said, please email us at talklikeamotherpodcast@gmail.com. That's right.
Nailed
Talk
it.
Like a Mother
Nailed it.
podcast. I didn't know if the podcast was in there or not, but it is. Or message us on Facebook, Instagram, comment, and we will save your question for an episode. I'm trying. Okay.
We have a couple to pick from, so you pick one, James.
I have some that are like school-ish specific. Should we do that since we're doing a school episode?
Who was that?
Here goes one. Okay. My son just started the 3rd grade. I'm struggling on how much to communicate with his teacher. I don't want to overwhelm her. I also don't want my son to fall through the cracks. How do I find the right balance when I want to advocate for my child but not pester the teacher?
Pick me, pick me.
Camila.
So here's my thoughts on that. I was that parent in kindergarten. I always felt like I didn't wanna bother them. I didn't wanna ask questions. I feel like with kiddos like ours, there aren't too many questions. I think it's how you approach those. But
I agree.
I can only speak for myself. I had to be my daughter's voice. She was nonverbal, and I think when you go into this with a kiddo on the spectrum, again, I'm speaking for myself, and she was my only child, so it was all brand new territory for me. I always felt like, oh, I wanted to tiptoe around the teachers. I didn't wanna, like, ask too many questions. Uh, nope, that's not the right approach. I think you need to be direct, very clear about your child, but I also think it's the way you approach things, and I feel
Yeah.
like that's like with anything. Like, if you come at bombarding somebody with an attitude, they're gonna give it back to you, teacher or not. I think if
Well,
you
it's going to put them on the
put them on
defense.
the defense,
Well,
exactly.
that's what I was gonna say. I think a lot. I mean, and we all know in this community, we know like people. I'm sure in each of our lives, in like who are parents of autistic children or children with disabilities, who always kind of have that defensive attitude, and sometimes it's earned because we've been scorned in certain ways. Like we had a run in kind of with the school justice for sure. It wasn't really bad, but there was just a moment my husband was really frustrated. Like no one came out to meet Jesse to bring him into the school, and prior in his preschool, we had eloping issues where at one point he left the school building. And so we're like scarred from that. But what I've learned over time is it's a collaboration. You want to
Yes.
go approach the teachers at the beginning of the year. I usually give it like a couple days. Like I have that initial meeting and then give a couple days for things to settle and them to know your kid a little bit. But just being like, okay, this is what we want. We want communication. What works best for you with that communication? Is it a back and forth book? Is it email? Is it meeting me after school every other day? Like when I pick up Jesse for like a quick conversation. What is best for you for communication? And that way, like they see you as being open to
Mhm.
communication
And approachable.
and approachable. Like I want to help you. And I'm like, I just want to help you. And I always explain, like my son speaks. People sometimes assume that that means that I know what's going on. Even his teacher this year, who was new, which I'll talk about this when we get to the episode more, but like she said to me, "How's he liking it? How's school going this year?" Because we talked before about how he has a difficult time going to school. He doesn't like school. And I was like, "I don't know. He doesn't tell us. Like, just because my son speaks doesn't mean he's communicative or he doesn't want to talk about school. He doesn't like it." And I ask every day and I try to get things out of him. So just being clear of like, this is our expectation for one, and this is like what we need from you. And we want to do this because we want to help. Like if he's doing a behavior at school and we can talk about that at home and work it at home, like of course we're going to try to do that for you. And I know a lot of parents aren't always all that open and some teachers aren't that open. So it's just like, let's work together.
think,
I think the thing is too, realistic expectations. I
Yes.
think not being entitled and understanding that, like, you're one of many,
Of
Yes.
but
many other children, yes.
you should never worry about being too pesky or being annoying because your child's needs come first, you know? So I think that that's not something you should worry about, but like Jen said, like how you approach it and like what your attitude is about things. And I always think it's good nowadays, especially to like stat things like in an email or something that can like be backtracked. So you have that initial like, okay, I made contact on this date, and hopefully things, find their way. But if they don't, you have that kind of like initial email. I feel like it's just
Yeah.
like an ongoing battle with our children.
So we
And some teachers are so good and then some aren't as good
No.
so I
with
won't go into the
communicating.
whole I won't rehash all of our school stuff, um, but I will highlight real quick. Kindergarten, she was manhandled and her legs were tied to a chair. Grade 1, they lost her on a field trip and she was found knee deep in a pond unattended. I mean, there are some stories. They locked her in a cloakroom in kindergarten. They said they put flowers in there. I said, I don't care if you put F and Donald Duck in there. Don't you ever put my child in there. So, like, literally, I do find, we've talked about this before, I find the word trauma that's thrown around a lot with all the buzzwords and stuff, but it was her pediatrician that said to me, the trauma that has been caused to her in school, pull her out. There was just one thing after another that kept happening. But what Chelsea Cheeseburger did, which is what led me to this, our last time we did try school, I don't know if you remember, Chelsea made her um, about Kaya book.
Well, yeah, and I've done that. I do a about
And
me
it was
book,
really helpful.
sheet.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
every time
what
we go
makes
now.
Kaya upset? What can you do? What does she need? What are the signs? Like, instead of like her favorite color is red, because really that is irrelevant, it was like, if she starts to do this, it means this. And it was very
I
helpful for
put the
them.
favorite color on there too, though, but just things that he can't
No,
communicate that he
I'm
might
being
wanna
flippant about it.
know.
Like,
No,
how they do
but,
is
like
like for
yeah.
kindergarten, like, you know what I mean? I'm just saying.
But
So
I
it,
do that. I do a sheet like that because, I
yeah.
mean, I learned that from you and from our friend Amanda DeLuca that has, like, his favorite things and things he might like
Mhm.
because those do help in the day to day. And then also, like, these are some of the behaviors he might have. This is why he might be doing it. Maybe not. And you never know. You put your kid in a new environment. Like, I didn't, this is the first year I hadn't done it, the About Me sheet. Um, because his peers and stuff know him a little better by now. He's a little more outspoken about what he does and doesn't like. I've had some, like, sometimes it's been utilized and sometimes it clearly hasn't been utilized. But like Kimmy said, setting that in like writing and something, be like, okay, well, refer back to this where I sent you that. So I did communicate that with you. And that's all, when things, not that things should get feisty or will get feisty, at least you can be like, hey, I've given you this information.
Yes, and I think the more information you can give, the better, especially if you have children that don't communicate well or that are nonverbal. I think coming from like a director of a daycare standpoint, like it's always helpful us to know what's going on at home, whether it's like a new behavior or like, there's some change. And I know people are hesitant to sometimes share stuff, but like it really helps us help your child. Like if we
Right.
know that something's going on at home, or there's some kind of change that could like affect their behavior, we can kind of help them through it, but we can't do that if we don't know. So I think communicating, giving them insight about your child, giving them the information, I think it's always helpful. And if it annoys them, too bad.
Yeah.
And then if it does come to something where you need to go to the principal or someone higher up because you feel like you're not getting communication back or there's an issue, you could be like, hey, we've been like really reasonable and open and we've wanted to collaborate and we've been hitting a wall. And at least you can prove that you've been doing that. Anyway, good luck.
Yes.
It's great.
Good luck.
There's
Anyway, good
amazing,
luck.
there's amazing teachers out there that will want the communication and stuff like that, but it is the way you approach it and like
Hmm.
just let them know you're open. And if you're met with like someone pushing back or being weird about that, that's a way to know right off the bat like
Mhm.
that you need to be more conserved and you need to be more involved in the school than maybe you wanted to be. And it sucks sometimes. And one time I had a principal at the preschool tell me, because I was like, I feel like I'm that parent that's like emailing all the time and doing this all the time. She's like, You sound like you're advocating for your child, and it sounds silly, but that was the first time I connected that, like, being that parent that wanted
Mhm.
communication,
Yeah,
which is ridiculous, as advocating for my kid, and I was like, "Oh, this is what advocating is, really, the day-to-day."
yeah,
It's not like going to Congress all the time. I mean, that stuff is important, and we need people to do that and do that if you can, but, like, the day-to-day for your child, this is a
yeah.
communication is advocating.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about back to school. Who wants to start? Kimmy, let's start because we talked a little bit last episode.
Yep.
Kira's
So
getting her
Kira is
master's.
starting graduate school. She is going to a program through Mass General Hospital, which is super exciting because it's a well-known hospital, not only in the state but in the country. And they have their own clinic right there, so they get to do lots of clinic hours. Yeah, and I'm super proud of her. She's worked super hard. It almost, like I said, it almost looked like she wasn't going to get into graduate school. And then last minute, some things happened and she was able to get in. Now reality setting in. So now she's getting nervous, but, and it's going to be a truck. She's got to take a commuter rail and then she's got to switch to a train and a trolley and then a bus. So yeah, it's going to be a lot.
Poor girl.
How long is your commute in total? Did you say 2 hours?
It looks like it's gonna be about close to 2 hours. Now I'm a city girl. When I went to high school, I took trains and buses.
Could
I
you
used to
imagine me trying to take a train and find something?
No,
No.
I used to have to take a trolley, a train,
The
switch
trolley
to
just
another
seems so cute
trolley,
to me. It makes
and
me think
then
of
take
Daniel Tiger.
a bus
Is there an
to
Uber
get to
around here?
school every day. That's what I had to do.
Really?
And I grew up on the subway and buses, and that's how we got around because I'm from the inner city, so, that's just my
If you
kids
ever
know.
wanna donate to Kimmy or Kira to support our
Yes.
next speech pathologist, send her an Uber gift card. That's
And also a Dunkin' Donuts gift card because the poor girl, she can't work. This is every day, all day,
yeah.
so she can't work, so now we have to help out with bus passes and train passes and coffee money and yeah, but, she's gonna get 6 weeks off. She'll get 6 weeks off in the winter. It goes through the summer, so she'll be a busy girl, but she's super excited. She just really has a passion for this, so, I'm really glad to see her get in and just start and not have to wait and, do all this all over again next year, and she's so great with kids, she's just,
And it's
you
cool
know
that she gets to, like, do a program that, like, she's right in there, like, pretty
Yeah, it's
early
pretty
on.
cool.
Oh.
I'm like, "Yeah." I go, "Learn and then come back and teach your sister to talk." She's like, "Okay."
Thank you
But
very
yeah,
much.
so we're excited for her, she's excited. Lexi is taking a break. Well, she's actually just retaking some classes this semester because she wants to try to get into nursing school for next year, so she's trying to get, some of her
She's gonna be a
oh,
nurse? Oh, I think
I
I
don't
maybe
think
mean
I knew
maybe
that.
she
Did I
knew
know that?
that, right? I think we knew that. Maybe?
yeah, I think she's not 100% sure what she wants to do, so I think that's also why she's just
Yeah.
taking the pause. She's redoing some classes, and then she's gonna get her CNA and kinda get in there a little bit to see if, this is what she wants to do. But yeah, so she's doing that, and obviously Alyssa goes to school year round, and I need her to stop this I need home shit, so she can get at least school now offered her a 4th day, and she won't go because
Kimmy, when does she age out of that? How long
she
can she
can
go?
for you don't age out.
Oh,
That's
they don't
life,
at
right?
all in that
Yeah.
program?
Mm-mm. No, once you get adult services, it's
Oh, okay.
22 until whatever. But they changed her because of COVID to Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Now she won't go another day. So that's super frustrating because I also think that would help with the sleep and the mood and all that stuff if she was in school more consistently. But
It's actually
how do
true.
I
They did say they do notice that children in autism that are homeschooled in particular, because they don't have to get up and do anything, they don't have to get up. It's like,
Okay, try now because I see you better now.
saying at the daycare, we're switching over to the new school year, so it's just busy there. We're switching classrooms and, it's not
Oh,
like
yeah, starting
obviously
over.
they're little, but they're moving up to their new preschool classrooms and their new pre-K classroom. So it's the week from hell. Yep.
So we started school a couple weeks ago. I think we started the 5th or 6th of August, so a few weeks ago now. We get out earlier, I feel like, than most people and then go back. Although, like, our Florida family's, like, on the same track as us, so it's just kind of funny that, like, everywhere in between is more Labor Day centric going back to school, but, um, it was okay. So Jesse complained a little bit about my stories and I know, like, all grace to teachers, like, our teachers go back in, like, a couple days before the kids or whatever. Like, they have so much to do that time, like, if they need to redo classrooms and all that stuff. But Jesse was his autism teacher was, new this year. So he had the same teacher from, like, kinder to 2nd, and then 3rd, he had a new teacher last year, and now in 4th, he has another new teacher because that one left from last year. And so we just didn't hear anything, like, who it was gonna be. Like, we essentially found out a couple days before school was starting because they put up on the website who the staff was. So we reached out and we're like, "Hey, can we just come meet her?" And it was kind of an awkward meeting. Like, it just felt like she didn't wanna be there in a way, and I just got kinda rubbed the wrong way. So that was a little bumpy. And then both my kids, like, so Amelie's going to the 2nd grade, and starting in 2nd grade, it used to be 1st grade at this school, but you go to a different teacher for your subject. So you have, like, one teacher for science, one for math, one for literacy, which I didn't do that till middle school. I think maybe in, like, sometimes I go to a different teacher for science or something, like, one subject in elementary school. So that's kind of a big change for her because she doesn't it's not just one teacher you're dealing with for your elementary school kid. You have to, like, talk to multiple people, which we're used to with Jesse because he's been doing that already, plus the autism room, plus this, plus that, plus therapists. So it's been a big change. But we had back to school night last week. Nope, the week before, maybe. I'm all discombobulated. And we got another chance to talk to his teacher, and she was actually very open. We actually talked to her a lot of like issues we've had with the school in general over the last couple of years. And she sat down and talked to us for a long time
Great.
and like very open. And she's like, I love hearing this from you guys. I love like how much you guys want to talk and be involved and all that stuff. So like I felt so much better about that. But I don't know. I just am in this weird place, and I know um just where Jesse's at with his level and stuff, like, he learns at a much slower rate than other kids, and he's not grade level on anything in any measure, but through his autism program, they do this thing where they put him in typical classes for part of the day, which I do think is great, like, socially. He's learning how to sit in a class. There's already been an outburst in one class, which is it just, like, very much
Yeah.
worries me that kids are gonna make fun of him or be mean or, like, look at him weird. Not that I don't even know if he notices that, but, like, I just know how kids are, you know? And we had great experiences at the end of last year with some kids really being kind to him, and that's great, and that gives me a little comfort. But I'm just concerned about his learning overall because I do think he is capable of learning. It just needs to be in his own time and place.
Sure.
And I'm like, okay, if we're shoving him in like the typical 4th grade math class and he's sitting in that room, does he understand any of that at all when
I
he's at
know.
a much
That's
lower grade level in math? And so he does work on some of like what he can do in the autism room. So I'm kind of torn by that. Like, should
Is
we
it
even have him in
mandatory
that
he does
room?
both? Is that how the school does it?
It's It's kinda because the whole point of, like, their autism program is to work them into general ed, which works for some kids. Some kids like Jesse stay in between where they can do a little what they can do. So, I've been a little open with this teacher. I was like, "I just wanna see where he's at with that," and it literally keeps me up at night because 'cause I'm like, "If he can learn, then why don't we just meet him at his level?"
At
But
his
him
level.
him sitting in the autism room all day isn't the greatest thing either because, for one, he's only in one place all day, and then the other kids in the room he gets along with some, he gets not along with others, but if someone's having a behavior, even though sometimes he's the one having a behavior, it annoys him and it irks him for the rest of the
Yes.
day. So it's like
Yes.
it's almost good for him to be in the other room. So I don't know. So I'm a little torn about that. Anyway, I feel like that was a lot. But so far he has complained about going to school, but so far this year we haven't had a call home for one. Last year it was like day 2 or 3 was a call home, and he hasn't had a complete meltdown about going to school. So we're
Perfect.
winning so far, like 3 or 4 weeks into school. But yeah.
I keep
Oh,
offering school, but she's like,
yeah.
"No, thank you, red with an X.
Stay
Stay home
home.
with mama," she says. "Stay home with mama." I said, "Okay."
I think Jesse, if we ever got to that point, I think he would prefer that. Like, although he does like an element of being around other kids,
I will
but
say
I
that
think
is the
he'd much
worst
rather
part,
have it.
is that she's not around other kids.
Yeah.
There's no opportunity to make a friend.
I wish there was an in-between option, like
And there's just not, and I mean,
yeah.
maybe there are other places I've searched high and low, as you know. I mean, I've literally exhausted trying to find something to do with her, like a program, a place, something. And there's at her age, there's nothing. It's like they drop off from 13 to 18. Like, it's
Which
just
is silly
bizarre.
because there's a mom just like you, probably
Mhm.
like 3 blocks away trying to find something as well, and it's like, why doesn't something exist for this in between? Like, if
And
there
then
was
it
like
was,
a
like, at the
place she
one
could go 3
place,
hours
which I
a
really
day.
didn't wanna be at, but I was like, "Well, if it's like a teen group, it would be good for her." They couldn't get enough teens, and I was like, "So are you not marketing it, or is it because of the place in general?" Like, I cannot be the only person that has a 15-year-old and has nowhere to go.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's a lot because it's like it always costs something, or they're trying. I mean, here in the States, they're trying to get insurance money for this or that. Or it's like our kids and kids like ours are in so many therapies and stuff like that that like some parents are like, oh, do we need to do
Mhm.
another thing? But it's like that social element is important on any level.
Yeah.
So what are you guys doing? When are you starting homeschooling and what
We'll
grade is she
start it,
now?
like,
10?
when school starts, which is until, like, September 8th or whatever, like, we start after the, is it Labor no, not Labor Day,
Yeah, Labor Day.
yeah, that's when we start, like, the Tuesday, whatever, the long weekend after, and that's when we start getting, like I think the homeschool, like, is, like, 1 or 2 weeks actually after that where their curriculum starts, like, it's always after, like, the public school starts.
We
Yeah, we've been
this
lucky, we've
episode
had
about
the
after that
same homeschool teacher, which don't just does everything virtually or whatever,
virtually.
like sends the assignments or whatever. But we had her for a few years. She's great. I really like her. So yeah, it works for us.
And
It works.
does she like doing schoolwork? Kaya?
No, but when she gets doing it, she's fine. Like she does like to learn. And they've always told me this and now I see it. Like if she starts something, she has to finish it. Like you can't give her a workbook and then stop
Well,
her
yeah,
halfway
Jesse
through.
that's what
She has to
Jesse's
finish the page of the workbook.
meltdown-ish behavior he had in the typical class was because the teacher was like, "Okay, we gotta move on," and so she was trying to get him to move on, and he hadn't finished it,
Yes.
and he I don't even know if he wanted to finish it, he probably didn't even start when he was supposed
But
to start
has
because 'cause
to
he'll drag
finish
his
it.
feet, but has to finish it, so that's where that came from. Yep.
Yeah. So we do that. And with me, we have workbooks and we just kind of make our way through the workbooks. Everything gets shipped right to my house, books, workbooks,
That's so cool, though.
everything. It's amazing.
Because there's a lot of people in our community that homeschool, and I have friends and stuff that homeschool, even, like, typical kids, and I feel like what homeschooling was when I was a kid was, like, you had to go buy all those books and
Yeah,
figure it
no.
out, like, I feel like it's a whole different thing now, and
And
I'm,
they
like,
have like a
partly
homeschool
tempted by it.
like library per se, where you go in and you can check out all these books, but they're for homeschooling and just return them at the end of the year. Like it's kind of cool. And then the stuff that is individualized, they just send right to the house.
Which is great, and that's how it should be this day and
Yeah.
age, it's 2025.
And they're really good, like, and the resources, like, and because she's not in public education, they pay for all her speech therapy, they pay for her horse therapy coming up. It's because she's not in public ed, so that funding that she would have had at public education, it gets pushed over into other things, right? So,
To other things you guys
that's
can do.
really nice, it's great.
A thing I forgot to mention about Jesse is
Did
he
you say
wants
horse therapy?
Yep. We
the
did it when she
hippo.
was
Yep,
younger, she had no interest in it, but we'll try it again, something to do. I'm just trying to find something to do with her, with other people, kids, you
and
know?
get her out, yeah. I was gonna say about Jesse is because he loves all like, he likes, Disney Channel, like, movies, so he likes, like, the zombies, and he likes, High School Musical. He thinks teenagers are the coolest thing, and he wants to go to high school, and he just wants a locker, and I'm like, "I don't think kids use lockers anymore because everything's, like, digital now." But it's kinda cute because he's like, "I wanna go to high school." I'm like, "Okay, buddy, let's calm down."
They actually don't have my nephew last year was a grade 12, they just carry their books, like, they don't have
But and,
lockers.
like, our high school still has the lockers, but I'm like, "Kids probably don't use them." I was like, "So I guess he can be at his locker all day when he c" but I don't know. Middle school is only 2 years away now. I feel like I'm constantly on the countdown to middle school. I'm so nervous about him in middle school. I might homeschool for that. My husband laughs at me and doesn't think I'll do it, but I might. I get
I'm so
really nervous
disappointed.
about
She
kids now.
was Yeah, it's tough when they go to ho when they go there, James, like because 'cause they're older, right? But
Yeah,
they're not really,
and
like
kids are a little more cool. We all
yeah.
no one was nice to me in middle school. Kids are
I
cool in
just
middle
was
school.
so disappointed because it was, like, our entry back into public ed. She was so excited, remember? She was getting up every day, getting ready, getting on that bus, going to school all day, coming home, being happy, having dinner, going to bed. I mean, it was 3 weeks of I didn't even know what it was. It was, freaking amazing until they went on their field trip. By the way, there was 1 email and 2 text messages, and then she went the entire 10 hours with no food and no water.
Just ugh.
Like, they just at every time they can fail her, they fail her.
And I have to like, that's when, like, back to, like, our like, the communication thing at the beginning, it's like, that's what I always wanna say to like and that's what I do say to teachers, like, I just don't want him to be forgotten because if Jesse's not, like, upset or having any behavior, sometimes he just, like, melts back in the corner, and it's like, you have to do things for him that you don't have to do for other kids.
Yeah.
Like with Kaya, you have to remind her to eat. You have to make sure she has time. Like, it's frustrating.
And when the vice principal called me, she was like, "Well, now we know why she had a meltdown because she was hangry," is exactly what they said to me, and she's like, "I am so sorry, but the damage was done. She was never gonna go back." I
Yeah, and
said,
they
"There's
don't
no
understand
trust,
that about our
and I
kids
don't trust
too.
her
Yeah.
teachers or her
Yeah.
aide because I an email and 2 text messages, and I'm sorry, but that is your job, is to care for my kid. That's as an education assistant, that is your job, is to make sure she's taken care of, and you failed again."
Well, and that's been like a thing we've run into with the school in general, but like each grade is like, we don't get any of the communications just because Jesse's not on like the typical roster.
Yeah.
And it just pisses me off, like that they have a whole autism program and it's not like a ton of kids or anything by any means, but it's like, so these kids aren't getting, I mean, we get like the overall school communication and like, I've talked about this a lot of times. My husband's like on the PTA and stuff to make sure we're involved and we know things.
Yeah.
But, like, one year his teacher was like, "Oh, sorry, we don't send home, like, the typical first grade stuff." She's like, "His folder doesn't come in here, so I can't put it in his folder." And I'm like, "Give it to the para to just stuff in his backpack. I don't need a freaking folder." Or, like, I kinda complained about this on my page, but, like, they have this, like, most people have an app that the teachers text you through or communicate
Mhm.
to you through, and Jesse's not on their list, and so we don't get those communications, and they're like, "Yeah, we gotta figure out why that," like, this was a story all last year. We never got this communication. We got it, like, last minute sometimes, like, the field trip he went on last year was, like, the day before we found out about it. It was very annoying. One of his teachers has already overcorrected that and told us in October the field trip they're going on. But, but I'm like, "Why can't any of you just, like, think like, hey, I should pop off an email to these 4 or 5 parents whose kids are in the autism program to make sure they just know about this." But it's
Mhm.
like, just because they can't put it in that text app, and so there's like I'm like, you could copy and paste what you put in that text app into an email and just have like an ongoing email where you
Ongoing email with the
BCC to
5
those
families that are
parents.
in it. Yep.
And I'm like, and I get it, teachers are busy and their day to day, they have a lot to do and this and this and that. And it's like, but really, what is inclusion then? Because I'm not asking that my kid is in every sport or that my kid is sitting in your classroom making loud noises and disrupting everyone else. I actually am not, if my son is disrupting every other child's learning opportunity, then take him out of the room. Like, and that's fine with me as long as he's learning and he's in a safe, happy place. But letting us know that there's an after school event for parents and kids and like we find out about it at the end of the school year in the like slideshow that we weren't invited to or
Yeah,
ever
that's
told
just
about,
gutting.
or we find out through my nephew who's in the same grade as my son like this and this is going on. It's like,
Terrible.
and then it's like kind of like they included Jesse in a few things last year, like and his and it wasn't like the actual third grade teachers, it was like a program through specials and stuff. It was almost like, oh, they were so proud to tell us that he was included in that. And I'm like, yeah, but we're not included in everything. So it's just this hard thing where it's like, what are people actually thinking about what our kids need? And are they listening to us? Because I'm sure you told them that stuff about Kaya, like
1
that
email, 2
she needs
text
to know it.
messages.
And they don't listen. They
They
just
don't.
think they either know. And then it's like, now her child's literally starving all day.
And
Like,
I'm
that's
like, because I
ridiculous.
had to send her food with her because she's not gonna eat the
Yep.
barbecue they're making, and I made a really clear point, like, you have to give her her lunch bag. She will not ask for it. Same with water, all the things. Anyway, but I did say, because they pulled her off the bus, it was that whole big thing, remember? And I said,
Yep.
"You all you people do is talk about inclusion. You yap about inclusion until the cows come home, but you don't do inclusion. You don't teach inclusion." I said, "You missed the boat big time on this field trip
Yeah.
for inclusion."
Obviously,
Devastated.
I get mad about it still.
Yeah, she was
I'm like, I
devastated.
don't know.
My mom was beside herself because Kaya came in and said, "Nana, open," and it was her mac and cheese that I packed in the morning. It was ice cold, by the way. My mom said she's putting her little fingers in her thermos, putting food in her mouth. Kaya's never done that in her life, but she was so hungry. My mom said she was almost shaking. You know when you're so hungry? Like,
Yeah.
she was Nana, open, like, she was just my mom said she couldn't get
And
the
she
food
did a
in
lot
fast enough.
that
That's
day.
that's us on a regular
I was
basis.
like, "Well, I don't know how that feels." Yeah, so I have a lot of thoughts and feelings, and, I even think for me, it's hard for me
It's
to not
triggering.
it's very triggering, and I'm getting sad about graduation because she won't walk a stage, and that's really hard for me, like, it's sad, those typical moments she's not gonna have now, not because of any fault of hers, because the system literally failed her at every
Yeah.
single turn,
And
and
I
I
will
don't
say,
I don't
like,
understand it.
hearing your story and other people's stories, I am very grateful for the situation we are in, and sometimes, like, our problems don't seem that big in the realm of things, but I still feel like I can fight for them in that way, but it's like, some places there is nothing, and it's like 1 in what, 32 kids is diagnosed with, and I know there's different levels, that's different levels of autism all over the place, but it's like, people have gotta do more and just wake up more to, like, what they can do, and a lot of it's not that hard, like, it's
Yeah.
not the biggest thing to make sure a little girl eats her lunch. Like, it's
Or
really
don't
not.
let her wander into a pond, you know?
Yeah. Watch her? I don't which it's like you hope you're watching all the children. And we've had really good experiences, like, last year, Jesse was, like, involved in this taekwondo thing, which did end in a very big hard meltdown that but I am grateful that he was allowed to participate in it, and it was really cool to see him at least attempt to do it and
Yeah.
try and, like, take it seriously, like, there was a lot of back and forth on that because it did not necessarily end well, but he did it, kind of a thing. So, I don't know, it's so hard. Back to school is hard, and
It's not always gonna end well, but that doesn't mean they shouldn't
they
try
shouldn't try. Yeah,
Like
give them the
or
opportunity to try it.
get the opportunity.
I went to the grade 8 orientation, and I was like, "Well, is there even a point for me to go? I'd like to go. It's a new school. I'd like to see." And the girl's like, "Well, there'll be nothing applicable to Kaya, but it wouldn't hurt if you went." And so I went, and there was nothing applicable to my daughter in grade 8. Like, I sat there like a fish out of water, and I just wanted to crawl under a chair and
You
literally
just feel
crawl
so
into a
awkward.
hole. It was,
Well,
like, awful.
so they have a award ceremony at the end of every school year, and last year they did it a little different because parts of the school they were redoing the carpet in, so they couldn't have in the big hall, like, they usually have, like, each grade go, all the parents come watch kids again, and Jesse's been able to participate in those, so they always do an autism one as well, which is great, so we've always done 2. Last year was the first time instead of doing, like, a big award thing, they showed, like, a project they had worked on, and Jesse didn't do that project because he wasn't in whatever class that was. So we go in the room for my nephew because, my nephew goes to that school, and we just had to sit there, and that's where we saw the slideshow of all the things. Like, Jesse was in some of the pictures and stuff, which was great, but all the things we weren't invited to, which was like, ugh. And then we found out that they did give out some awards, and Jesse wasn't included in that, and I was like, it just was like, really? Like, they're all made up little awards. Oh, and I was so mad that was the first year they did because Jesse had perfect attendance last year, besides like a couple tardies and like one like leave for the dentist towards the end of the day or whatever. It's like, this is the one time we've had, like, great attendance and we didn't get an award for it. But, like, stuff like that, I'm like, that's a simple thing to do.
And
Like, just give them award, like,
just
the,
give it
like,
to him.
best effort or
Yeah.
future like, Jesse always says he wants to be an astronaut, future astronaut. Like, you can do that. But they didn't like, the teachers last year is, like, that we had, and they've been great teachers in other ways, but it's just, like, the inclusion was, like, icky to me. Anyway, this is like therapy again, this podcast.
I
I'm
know, I'm
a lot
thinking
of
like, "Man, school really does jar me up when I think about it."
I know.
It really
Um,
does. Anyway.
well, but we do hope everyone has a good year, and my
We
thing
do
this
really wish you all well.
well, and I will say this, a lot of times, like, talking to Jesse's teacher this year and I don't know if it's just the area we're in or what, we always get back from the teachers, they're like, "We wish more parents were like you and communicating and telling us this, and that." And so I always tell people who have their kids in school, autism parents, kids with disabilities, I'm like, speak up like we do, even though it's uncomfortable sometimes, so that people hear us more, and then, like, we're a united front, and then they can learn from us, and, like, if you hear about something happening that, like, happened to Jen, back that mom up, back those parents up, and be like, "This is not okay," like, I know we're all tired and exhausted, and we're doing, like, way more than most parents have to do, but we can make a change if we speak up more, and
And
it's not
again,
always
I'm
easy.
thankful those parents spoke up that found her in
Yeah,
the pond because they took a lot of flack from the
which is
PTA mom who approached me on the field and said, "You're ruining our school's reputation. You don't have
good.
to tell people what happened to your daughter." And then this other autism mom, came flying out of nowhere and put this woman in her and said, "What if that
Good.
was your child that can't speak and can't swim?" And then the mom just stood there like dumbfounded. Like, she was trying to cover it up, right? Like what happened, covering it. The news was, I mean, you all know me, the 6 o'clock news. I was like, headliner of the 6 o'clock news. I mean,
Jen's
it's a
not
pretty
gonna
big
let
deal
that
when you
fly.
find a child, a non-speaking autistic child in a pond unattended. It's
And
a big deal.
and yeah. Like,
Big deal.
speak up for each other and try to be involved. Like, I know that's easier said than done, but the more you are involved in the wall, like, we've seen it. We've seen, like, parents know we're in the school. They know we're, like, we know the principal. Like, the teachers know this. Like, they're a little more on their toes because we know they know we're not gonna let slide, and it's sad we have to do that, but do what you gotta do, and, like, if you can join up as parents in your school district and make sure things are more accessible to our kids, then do it. Anyway, I hope everyone has a great
Yeah,
week.
we wish you all the best. It's gonna be great for each and every one of you.
Maybe.
We try to be positive.
I was gonna say, send us another question because we are uplifting with our answers.
That's the point of our podcast. We've talked about, like, how, like, oh, we don't need to always directly talk about autism things, but it's gonna come out in everything we talk
Yeah.
about anyway
I
because this
started
is
at
our
positive
lives.
Patty, and I'm ending over in negative Nelly land over here. Anyway,
All right.
all right,
Have a
friends.
great one, everyone. Bye.
Have a good night, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of the Talk Like a Mother Parenting Autism podcast. If you are enjoying our podcast, make sure to rate and review us wherever you listen. Give us a follow on Facebook and Instagram for more content, and we'll see you next time.